Welcome back to Biz Politics, everyone. My name's Max, and look, there's a few tinier things happening in the political scene. The first one that I want to chat about is today the news that Moira Deeming has lost her Victorian Liberal Party pre-selection. There's been a whole bunch of controversies and not scandals, I'd say, but a lot of legal battles between Moira Deeming and John Pizzuto. I believe that something happened at a rally. I don't want to get too into that part of it. And look, her and the former leader, John Pizzuto, did have a few... I don't know what the word is to sum it up, but look, she got suspended from the Liberal Party. She ended up suing them, and I believe she won. Pizzuto was in a little bit of financial trouble, and look, it seems that she's officially lost pre-selection, so that's interesting. I knew that was always going to happen, but I just didn't think it would happen this early on in the political scene. Of course, the November election, that should be an interesting one. The polls, there's not too many polls coming out from there, but I think as we sort of ramp up towards it, we'll see a lot more polls coming around. Other news in the political scene, look, I think it's been a quiet week for the Liberal Party. Not too much going on. When Susan Lee was at the helm, we had a lot of news, like a lot of reports, a lot of stuff going on. And I think now that we have a new leadership, it's more quiet, not much going on. But look, I want to chat about the South Australian election. That's the thing that's at the top of everyone's mind right now in the political world. Look, there's not 100% completed results yet, but they're 86.8% counted. So it looks like the Liberal Party will retain official opposition status, with One Nation most likely going to get up to 4 seats. The Liberal Party most likely, I believe 5 to 7 is the range, and Peter Malinauskas with the Labor Party sitting comfortably in their lead on 37 currently. Yeah, look, the map looks a bit more orange. So, of course, and in the upper house, the One Nation Party did gain 2 extra seats. Of course, that's looking really interesting. I'm looking at the composition right now, and it's, my goodness, I don't know what to say. In doubt, 3 current seats are in doubt. So, look, the current numbers I've got is 22.1% for One Nation, plus 19.6. The Labour Party dropping back 2.3 points. The swing, I think most of that went to the Greens and One Nation. And the Liberal Party, ooh, my goodness, I don't even want to get into this, minus 16.7. The swing, minus 16.7. And look, SA Best, oh goodness, yeah, not too much going on there. Nick Xenophon's SA Best has officially lost their only member in the South Australian Parliament. I think it was Connie Benaros. She lost her seat, and they were sitting in the Legislative Council. Let me get the current voting numbers up in the Legislative Council. They received, 5,235% of the vote, minus 0.4. So that's, look, not too much going on there. One Nation on 3 seats in the upper house, and Labor currently on 9. So that's good. It looks like the last seat in the upper house will go to the Labor Party. But yeah, there is one in doubt, but most likely. The upper house will look like the government on 9 to 10 seats, the opposition on 6, crossbench on 6 with One Nation on 3, the Greens on 2, and Fair Go on 1. Fair Go actually received 0.3 of the vote, and so that was the first time that they've done a South Australian election. Of course, I think it was a Jennifer Game. Let me just double check that quickly. Sorry, Sarah Game. Jennifer Game was her mother, I believe. Look, Sarah Game was One Nation, and then she broke off and did her own party. Sarah Game Fair Go for South Australians. Oh, sorry, for Australians. My mistake. But look, I think we'll get some final numbers in very, very soon. The seats that I just want to look at just quickly. Let me grab it up. Where are we? So look, there was just 3 seats left to call. And I think that it was between One Nation and the Labor Party, and they were both Liberal-held seats. Let me just grab up the final, not the final numbers here, but the current numbers. So look, the ABC, I think they're probably the most, not the most reliable, but probably, yeah, one of the more reliable sources. Noongar, independent held, and that's with Chantel Thomas leading by 25 votes. That was updated 3 hours ago. And McKillop, One Nation, is ahead by 428 votes with Jason Virgo versus Rebecca Rosser. And look, both of those One Nation is leading, but very, very small margins. And that is 2 seats left to call. Where's the third? Come on, where are we? I'll get back to you all on this. I don't actually see a third. We have McKillop. We have Noongar, and we have... Where's the third? Okay, well, look, I think the ABC website is... need to reload it. So, actually, no, hold on. The ABC website only says 2 seats in doubt. So, I shouldn't trust Wikipedia. Anyway, look, I think we'll get some final numbers in soon. I'm excited to see what the composition looks like. But yes, for now, the Liberal Party does retain official opposition status. And I think that's a good thing for One Nation, because I don't think that... Speaking of policy, it's more on immigration for One Nation. Rhymes. But it's more on immigration. And I think that as an official opposition, I think we need to see some more numbers in Victoria first and New South Wales before we start to see anything opposition-wise in states, territories, and possibly federal. The latest MRP poll that came out put One Nation in official opposition at between 52 and 55 seats in the House of Representatives. So that's shocking. Well, of course, we'd have to take into account preferences and preference deals and whatnot. And I think that's a really big factor that didn't help out the Liberal Party, preferencing One Nation higher in the South Australian election. But who knows? No new federal polls from what I believe. But look, it's always, for the next few polls, I think, in the federal level, it's going to be One Nation in possibly first or second place, and the Liberal Party in a distant third. But look, the Canman show is currently going on, and Angus Taylor can definitely sure crack a whip and ride a bull. But look, I was thinking before he'd look great in the National Party with a cowboy hat and some cowboy boots. But look, we'll leave that for the other political commentators to chat about. But look, it's Biz Politics. Follow us on Instagram at biz_politics. I'll chat to you all soon. I'm sure it's going to be another busy week in politics.